Hey guys, it's Ken Maxfield, otherwise known as the Hide Guy. I am the owner and editor of the Maxfield Report, and this is the market recap for the week ending September the 4th. Last week started off with the offer list of Packers, once again very populated. In fact, the popular opinion of most folks is that there were, in spite of so many hides that were offered, there were even more hides that Packers had to sell that they weren't willing to admit to. As we mentioned to you last week, shipping times on most every selection offered was for immediate shipment. And that is a stark contrast from a month ago, where most every Packer was telling everybody who would listen that they were sold through the month of September and into October. So as far as asking prices, they were roughly $2 off across the board. Some selections were even a little bit saw a little bit larger discount, I should say. But what was interesting is a lot of people are pointing out we know of sales last week that were at even lower levels than what Packers are advertising as their asking price this week. So it just all together goes to show you that, you know, Packers are desperate for sales. Let's just be blunt. You know, they can tell everybody they're sold. You can tell by when you're negotiating, the shipping department's calling, pushing, wanting shipments on outstanding orders earlier than contracted. I don't want to make it sound like the sky's falling, but at the end of the day, they're just not as well sold as they were a month ago. They're pushing. It's COVID problems. It's shipping problems. No containers. No space on vessels. Places aren't running because of COVID. It's just really kind of a very sloppy mess. As far as interest last week, with a lot of the Packers going direct to some of their preferred customers, of course, there's a number of rumors accusing Packers of special offers, of course, well below asking prices. I'm getting the sense, based on the conversation I had, that there was a fair number of hides exchanging hands last week. I'm not here to tell you it was, 6, 7, 800,000 hides, but I think was a decent week of sales for most folks last week. In prices, I would call them down $2 to $3, and in some cases even more, depending on how many you're buying, when you can ship them, and all of that good stuff. So the cow hides, it's almost the same situation as the big Packer market. You've got, situation producers are not as well sold as they were. They have huge offer lists. They're trying to minimize the declines every week. They've got product that can ship prompt, asking prices down $1 or $2. Interest, just like big Packer stuff, producers were going direct to some of their favorite customers, trying to get them to do some business, trying to get shipments and volumes lined up, all that good stuff. So kind of the same story what we saw in the big Packer market. And I do get a sense that there was a fair amount of hides exchange hands last week. But of course, when they do this direct business, they don't want any of us to know about it because it's done behind the scenes, and we'll hear about it here sometime later this week, okay? So that's what I got going on there. Harvest last week came in at 624. If you follow my report, I'd been indicating that I thought we'd saw a similar replay on the harvest that we did the week of the 4th of July, where the Packers kind of whacked down their Friday, Saturday numbers to give their hourlies at least a long needed weekend. These guys have been working every Saturday. So that 624 matches up against 651 the week prior. Of course, Monday, today is a holiday. They're not going to knock today. So this coming week, look for something around 575, 580 is what I'm thinking there. So we're still about 825,000 or 4% ahead of last year. One thing to keep an eye on, it looks like feedlots are starting to get current. Weights are coming off a little bit. Grading's starting to go down a little bit. Live cattle prices are going up a little bit. Seems like we're starting to get caught up to this overflow or overhang of live cattle. That's going to dig into Packers margins because, beef demand usually tails off after the Labor Day holiday. Higher live prices. Let's not feel sorry for the Packers, though, folks. They were making, over $900 a head, so they can give up some margin and give it back into the feedlot. Hopefully make beef prices for all of us a little bit cheaper at the store. So on the export report, I guess it was okay. Wet salted sales were about 100,000 better than the week prior. That's obviously a plus. Shipments were about 125,000 lower, definitely a negative. Sales of wet blue up about 80,000, a plus. Shipments of wet blue down about 90,000. So plus minus, I'm going to call it neutral. I still think, the shipping problems that are facing everybody with the unavailability of containers, vessel space limited, all of this stuff, congestion at the port, it's a train wreck on shipping. So as far as going around the globe, our friends in Europe are just back from their holidays. They're trying to hold their market steady best they can. I've always been of the opinion that Europe kind of lags our market by 3 to 4 weeks. We just had gone through back in August this situation where market was starting to tip, sellers didn't want to give in, buyers weren't going to pay the price. I think that's what's going on in Europe. Their kill's going to start picking up now that we're into September. I think they're going to have to follow us, plain and simple. Brazil, I would say prices are unchanged on fresh. Wet blue prices going down because of the problems with COVID in Southeast Asia. Just learned over the weekend that Brazil has 2 cases of BSE. As far as the impact that's going to have, yet to be determined. We need to get more information on that to understand how that's really going to impact the kill. But if that would happen to, I can tell you this much I do know. China has banned any future imports of Brazilian beef. That's going to be a big problem if that ban holds. And as soon as we have more information on, hopefully by next week, we can share a little more, or of course we'll share it in our reports as we have it. But price of the wet blue hides are down in Brazil, off about anywhere from 2 to 4 cents per square foot. Going over to Australia, the kill remains very low there. They're continuing to deal with problems with COVID/Delta. That's got a lot of cities locked up or restricted. Live cattle prices still going through the roof. Packers not making any money. Kills low. But like, the rest of the market, the guys selling hides are trying to hold it together. They're struggling to do so. They've had to take less money. They're just following the trend of the global market. So as far as what we can expect for next week, I encourage you to go out to the website. I've got a button out there, request sample reports. I can send you copies of both my reports. If it's something you like, we could even talk about maybe a 7-day, 10-day trial. I just want to make sure if you're going to, take a peek at it, you're going to pay for it, you're going to like it. So that's why I do it that way. So that's it for this week. Ken Maxfield, the Hide Guy. Until next week, thanks.